Why lockdown?
Hmm?
Why lockdown?
Because that's what we're going to do. Yeah? Do we want to do it? No. But it's time to man the turrets. It's definitely cooler tonight. Got your dressing gown on.
Yeah, I'm cold. I'm tired.
This is Seeds to Freedom News. Yes, cooler tonight, which is pleasant actually. It's not humid. It was a bit today. I spent all day working, sanding, tinting, varnishing. The carpet man came out. You've been in lockdown for a week. Hello, keeping it bacon. How are you? So obviously you've got several pigs in the backyard. They don't know their fate yet, but they can hear the sizzle of the cast iron pan each morning. There's a self-imposed lockdown occurring in Australia where people are just closing their shops, people are taking their kids out of school. Some businesses just can't operate. Thanks, mate. Lots of tinting, varnishing, sanding today. We're getting there. Carpet man came. The wife's organising the coloured carpet for the bedrooms. Skirting boards go on tomorrow. Solar should go on tomorrow. All the schools in Florida are closed. Okay. It'll be everywhere shortly. It's imminent. I wish the world would do it all at once. You know, there's some great success stories in Singapore and Taiwan who locked down really early, and they have very little in the way of deaths compared to the rest of the world. Why? Because they locked down really early. The word when you hear politicians says, we will minimise the risk by only having crowds of 500 people. Really? You think that minimises it? Playing Russian roulette. The silly thing I heard tonight, we've got a big casino in Perth called the Crown Casino. Now what they've done, they've got away with being closed because every second pokie machine is empty. It's not on. They've actually turned the machine off. So do you think that one person is going to stay at the one machine all night? Or as soon as that person gets up, someone else dashes down? It's just superfluous. It's a ridiculous thing. You know, in our casino, you can have 2,000 to 3,000 people in there. So every second machine's turned off, big deal. We've still got 2,000 and 3,000 people there. Some crazy things like that make no sense. They did a good thing today. The big chain supermarkets are opening an hour earlier.
They're not opening an hour earlier.
No, they are.
No, they normally open at 7 or 7:30, but they're just keeping that first hour.
No, I just read they're opening an hour earlier.
Oh, they've changed it again.
Yeah. It's very fluid. Things have changed. But what it is, the first hour, you can only go into the shop if you've got a pension card or a disability card. You won't be permitted to go into the store unless you show that card. And I think that's a great idea. There's old people who can wander all around and get what they need before the hordes come in and take everything. So that was a good move today. Because the chaos around the world for shopping is just bizarre. You know, did you notice the Edge section was still closed today?
Yeah, they're not even putting them on the shelf.
Yeah.
When they do come in, it stays on the pallet or on the trolley and people take it from there.
Unbelievable. We picked up some bits and pieces, but yeah, that's the first thing I heard, keeping that they want to do here is because they've got a lot less trade, all the other services, they're asking to stay open for only half their hours. I get it, but just close every non-essential service. There are huge bailouts happening all over the world. Australians are getting money from the government. Australians are not paying any increases in fees and taxes. That's been frozen. Some people's bills, they're just putting in frozen. So everyone in the financial sector is doing their bit. But the financial situation will get terrible. We know that. But that's not really that important. But hopefully the Americans get something from their government instead of just lip service. There's plenty of vulnerable Americans. You just need to see how many people are on food stamps. I'm sure they will, reluctantly. Trump will say, oh, all right, we'll give the people something. Shouldn't really, but we'll give them something. Give them $10 each. And I've been watching the American media for the last week, more than I normally do. And man, they come out with some confusing crap. Don't do this, that's okay, that's not okay. It's just a quagmire of confusion for people who are saying, well, what am I supposed to do? I did read one article where local sheriffs, state police in America, in certain states, are going to round up homeless people because they're very vulnerable, and they're also susceptible to go into large stores to buy Dollar Tree things and things like that. And yes, put them in camps, feed them, have medical staff attend, and people would say, oh yeah, well this is, you know, the Illuminati, blah, 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 blah. No, these homeless people living in cars, they're very vulnerable. So if they're put into some area where they're safer, fed and secure, that's got to be a better deal. Like in Australia today, we went from 250 confirmed cases yesterday to 500 today.
And what states? It's mainly Melbourne and Queensland for some reason.
Oh, it's New South Wales, Queensland, so they're all going up.
New South Wales mainly, and then...
So if people think just being blasé is the answer, it's not. Yes, there's so many things in history that can tell us and teach us a lesson. But people do just get blasé. Ah, it won't happen to me. Now that syndrome keeping? No, it happens to everyone else. It won't happen to us. Well, no. Hello, Scarlett. We're watching more and more people in our country of Australia start their own lockdowns. They're not waiting for the government. Kids are being taken out of school. and schools are not saying anything. Well, they can't really, can they? We are only leaving this house for essential services like chocolate. No, we'll be self-imposing a lockdown of sorts for ourselves. We have to. Less people get it, less people spread it. Should be a t-shirt in there somewhere. Hi country, here you go, mate.
Oh, one time I say hi.
Well, I'm pretty sure he'll be locking down shortly too. He's a smart bloke. Mind you, when he goes fishing in the highlands, there's no one up there, so there's still something he can do. Yeah, it's the same here, mate. I don't need chocolate. The wife does.
Yeah, it's me.
But-
Send me the chocolate.
But I was just saying to keeping it cool, Hi, that in Australia people are starting their own lockdowns. Old folk aren't going out. People are taking kids out of school. People are stopping work. And this is before anyone says you can do that. They're just doing it. You don't need to wait to be told, is what I'm saying. Taiwan and Singapore are great examples of very early on, they did a real tight lockdown. Same with China. China's only having a few deaths a day and a few new reported. Taiwan has just about got it under control. It's not quelled, but it's definitely under control. Singapore's the same. And if you ask, how did they do it? They basically went into self-lockdown. We've got all these vagaries, like even if you're an Australian, you fly back into Australia now, you've got to quarantine yourself for 14 days.
That's weird, that's fine.
I just got to read High Country's big paragraph because it disappeared. Yeah, like an apocalypse. People's behaviour has definitely changed.
Yeah, I know anti-inflammatory. I
Yep.
can't take it anyway.
Ibuprofen, aspirin. I think aspirin is one that I read that they could take. Naproxen, yep, Advil. Yeah, all the anti-inflammatories which are not helping. Paracetamol is what they're saying. Just take paracetamol. So, yeah, people are self-imposing, which is, I don't blame them. I just do hope that overall the schools are closed down shortly. We're only 2 weeks away from an Easter break anyway. I should just make a decision this week and say, okay, stay home. And the education is already preparing here in Australia for kids not to go back to school for the rest of the year. They openly admit that if they have to, there'll be online courses. Those that don't have access to the internet can go back to school and have special rooms set up with very minimal contact. G'day VMAC. The facts are showing high that the over 65s in particular are very vulnerable because of their age, naturally weakening immune systems, and things like diabetes, heart conditions, high blood pressure. All these things are just catalysts for being weakening in your system. So they're already showing out. I mean, Italy's death toll yesterday was staggering. Italy lost 368 people in a day. Not just confirmed virus cases. These are people that died just yesterday. Spain is on the same track as Italy. So you start throwing numbers around, and you start realising that the people that are being a bit blasé should stop being blasé. I just wish the whole world would go into lockdown for 1 month. Stay home. Businesses are going to collapse, there's no doubt. People will go bankrupt, yes. But you can recover from financial loss. Yeah, half of Canada's always in Florida. I think they own it. Yeah, well, that's what we're told. Hi. I'm a bit of a doubting Thomas when they say a wet fish market caused all this.
Going to be where?
Yeah, it's CFB Trenton.
What's that?
Is the place?
Oh, that's good to know, there, mate.
Everyone, whether you're Australian, there's not. Look, I mean, you guys would hear the aircraft that we hear at night time. And we have normally 80 to 100 aircraft come and go. We hardly see anything now, do we?
And the last week, yeah. Canadian Forces.
Yeah, and your Prime Minister has stood up too, mate. She's going to start handing some cash out to people. Good on her. That's what we do in Australia. It works. People spend money.
Oh, Canadian Forces Base. That's men in uniform.
Men in uniform.
I'll go there.
I used to wear a uniform.
Yeah, what happened?
You told me to stop wearing it.
Yeah.
What about those who drive home? There's a great need for people to understand financially it may ruin some people, but you'll recover. We need to bite the financial bullet with this, one way or the other. Yeah, it is good, hi, because the only reason your country ticks over is because of the people. You don't look after the people, your country doesn't tick over. It goes down to gurgler. ScoMo is very reluctantly giving Australians money. He was the loudest critic when Kevin Rudd did it in 2008. Stupid idea, giving the people money. What's he doing now? Giving the people money. Time has come.
I suppose that's when you think about it, each Australian state only has one airport. There is no other airports.
No, there's a lot more airports than that.
Perth has one.
Well, Sydney has two, but...
Yeah, well, they'll make that everyone's just got to go to the one. And all the other ones have... Yeah, you've got your small FIFO worker ones.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is also that the old Anzac spirit will kick in. Talking about Anzac, which is a very big day in New Zealand and Australia, it's not happening. There will be dawn services in both countries with no one in attendance. Yep, you heard it. And the irony, is that in about late 1919, 1920, most of those servicemen from New Zealand and Australia, the Anzacs, came home. And this is 100 years later. Another case in your town, Scarlett. Hello, Buttercup. Yeah, they're doing it for the obvious reason that Hi knows and I know, like some of the Anzac ceremonies in the morning take over between about 5:30 in the morning till about 8. That's the ceremony.
Yeah,
and you have out of 25 million Aussies, probably 5 million attend, but they've cancelled it for that reason. Sport is being thrown on its head in Australia. I don't think people are stressed. I think most of the people in here are Kookaburra saying goodnight.
That's pretty late.
But most people that come in here basically are smart and they're minimising going out and doing stuff.
Yeah, they're doing ours on the TV. It'll be minimum whatever it is, and then they'll just broadcast it on the TV.
You couldn't pick two countries that play more sport than New Zealand and Australia. If it's a ball, a bat, whatever, we play it. And normally this week you'd be seeing 100,000 people at a single stadium in Australia, and that's not happening. I see they eventually cancelled the Rugby 6 Buttercup. We were talking on that day and that night. I saw the broadcast. Nope, not going ahead.
Oh God, VMAC, you're just going to have to use your backyard or your lounge room. Practice there.
Yeah, I think VMAC can make a good Aussie. She loves the sport. Hopefully, if we just hunker down, go out when you only necessarily have to. Yeah, I don't know, they might still run NASCAR, I'm not sure. They cancelled the Formula One here. Everyone rocked up at the gate in Melbourne and it was about to start and they said, nah, we called it off.
Yeah, that was wrong though. They had plenty
The very last minute.
Yeah, opportunity to forewarn the public and without everyone turning up and doing it on the day, within the half hour.
I think we've got to resolve ourselves that this isn't a month or 2 months before it's over. This will be a good 12 months from beginning to end.
VMAC, just get some chocolate. That's what will get me through.
So, start growing them gardens, guys. Get them veggies ticking over, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, you're about to kick in. Horse racing events in Australia are always packed. Not anymore, it's just the horses go around in circles. When the world's after the world, they've got another guy, I can't stand it. Okay?
I'm not sure what that means.
Your Bonspiel was cancelled. All sports is being cancelled here. You're going to have to resort to watching old movies and going live on YouTube. No, SARS was not as contagious, firstly, at all. And places like Taiwan, Japan, they moved very swiftly. We don't seem to do that in Western culture. We say, it'll be okay, don't worry about it. The Italians were very much, and they admit it themselves, they were a bit blasé and didn't bother, and all of a sudden, bang. No, don't tell me, I didn't get you through nothing.
Yep.
That didn't happen. We're just a group of people.
Buddy, you're not supposed to answer the door when you're talking to us. Just yell out to them.
Was it a man in uniform?
Go away. Come back in a couple hours.
Good old Amazon, still delivering.
Well, what they've got here is, how they say it? They're still delivering fast food. So they leave it at your door and then they run.
Yep. Haven't heard any figures from like Uber or taxi services, but man, they must be down.
Yeah, what did that one guy do? The guy wanted to get in his taxi. He sprayed his taxi first, got out, sprayed the guy down, gave the guy hand wipes and disinfectant, then let him in the taxi. He did all that from a distance.
All online shopping has ceased in Australia.
Yeah.
To stop people hoarding, which actually works in sort of reverse, because people that would normally get their online orders can't, so they'll have to go down to the shop. Hence, more people will be in together.
Same as click and collect.
It would be far easier just to say you can restrict orders.
What about that guy? There's one in every country, and Australia had one. a guy a couple of weeks ago bought 18,000
No, that's in America.
Was
18,
it
18,
Aussie?
no, 18,000 bottles in America.
I could have sworn he had an Aussie
No,
accent.
hand sanitizer.
Oh, England.
No, America.
Oh.
Taxis are downhill, so VMAX says. But still operating. You don't have Urban, no, we do. Stay away 2 metres, or you get no chili.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I could see your point, Buttercup, but if you just think logically, the older you get, the weaker your immune system gets anyway. And then add any sort of problems or diseases as you get older, you know, it's sort of, you can think a conspiracy of sorts, but literally, age shall weary you. I would look, I'd arrest people like that, seriously. Anyone who takes advantage during times of stress are basically just assholes. If I was in a jury, I'd say, yeah, fuck them. Yeah, they've done that for about a week, but now there are no online orders because that's where most of the hoarding was happening. I'm pretty sure all you guys have got plenty of food. And I said to you, more than likely, if you do just do a lockdown yourself, you may run out of chocolate. You may run out of milk. But you'll be fine. We Australians are big consumers of long life milk. It costs $1 a litre for long life milk. That's not too bad. This planet has always shaked, rattled and rolled. We all had a discussion about 6 months ago. Again, my memory is unfortunately very clear. And most of you were in the room when I used the words, Mother Nature has a way of equalising an abundance of life, be it animals or humans. I wasn't being cruel. I was just stating a fact because history tells us that she does this. I mean, imagine if we had all come from the year 1460 and we're in London and we're all on the internet. It would be called Old London Town Internet. And we're all sitting around with our incredible machines, 600 years before their time. And we start talking about people dying from the plague. We don't call it the plague in 1460. We just call it the Black Death because people go black. They go blue first, then black. And then they die. And you can be good as dandy in the morning and dead at night with the Black Plague. We'd be sitting here saying, I bet it's got something to do with the bloody French. Or, it's a conspiracy from the Nordics, the Vikings are doing something. Human nature doesn't change. We would look at something else saying that that is the cause. But throughout time, the Black Death killed half the population. And of course, there's a lot more people today than there was in 1460. But the truth is, half the population died. And in 1918 to 1920, the Spanish flu, or the American flu, whichever way you look at it, killed up to 100 million people. Now, today, we have far more advanced medical systems. However, we don't normally expect half the planet to get sick. So we don't have the capacity. You're seeing people like the health minister in the UK saying to anyone, build me ventilators and we'll buy as many as you make. He's only saying that for one good reason. They know what's coming. And you're going to get the people that say, oh, I've had it. Yeah, no, I didn't get sick, didn't feel it at all. And they'll be looking at other people saying, why are you getting sick? I never got sick. Because they're only looking from their perspective.
Yeah, but some people don't know they've had it.
That's right, they're
Or they've
asymptomatic.
got
They
it.
don't even know they've had it.
Say that, yeah.
No cruise ships can port in Australia at all. Zero. And this time of the year we would have 50 coming and going with tours. It's peak season for boat cruises in Australia, and there are 0 going anywhere. Royal Caribbean, which is the biggest cruise line company in the world, have closed at the moment. So if you think about going to the Caribbean for a nice 12-day trip, you better take a small dinghy and lots of hardtack and spam, because there ain't no cruise ship.
Bam. I think I was tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there is hope.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Mac. We can't do that now, though. All our online shopping is ceased.
Yep, can't buy anything online.
But there's plenty of people that have... I'm on different sites that are like my local sites. There's plenty of people, and we would do the
Good
same.
idea, Buttercup.
Have offered to go and do shopping for people and
Yep.
help each other. So, all good. Okay, bamboo kitchen rolls. I've never heard of them.
They're like paper towels.
Oh,
Make a lot of stuff out of bamboo these days.
yeah, I know. I didn't realise they did like a paper towel.
Pillows, they make pillows out of
Yeah,
bamboo.
I know that, mattresses and stuff.
Oh, I've got to get a tarp tomorrow for that table.
Yeah.
Unless we can think of taking one of these off. Maybe just do that.
Well,
It's not raining, we'll just put it on there.
While he's painting and then put
Yeah.
it back on here.
Yep. I can't remember the actual size of the. I'm not sure whether they're 300 watt.
No, what was that
It's
one?
the solar should be
Yeah.
going on tomorrow, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure that will end VMAC. We seem to be a couple of weeks ahead of the panic that you're now seeing in other countries. We had that a month ago.
Yes, I was aware. I could have sworn that guy didn't have an American accent, but...
No, he was American.
And then they go at all the
He got death threats.
Yeah.
Anyone that makes profit out of misery is an asshole. Actually, it's cooled down, which is good. We had the longest summer I can remember. It started in August. It's now the middle of March, so that's a long summer.
I agree with that, VMAC. I don't think they should have stopped online shopping either. They could just redo the catalogues or just say, or if you try and order 10 boxes of tissues, something pop up saying, sorry, 1 or 2 allowed. per household. There's lots
Well,
that
that's
they
easy
could
to
do.
program. They do
Yeah.
that anyway. It's like sometimes, we've only ever shopped twice online. And once I went to get 6 something and it said, no, you can only have 2.
Depending
It was
what
a special. It was a special.
Yeah.
I said, no, you can only have 2.
Yeah, limit, like to stop you. I agree. That's how they should do it, Lebo. What do you mean, Buttercup, by 3 weeks in advance? The delivery slots are booked.
Well, it's telling you that in 3 weeks' time you get your delivery.
Oh.
Yeah, you do that in Canada. It's cold. I mean, I'm pretty sure for the last 5 months you've had a pretty full pantry and freezer and fridge because you could lose your power, as you say, quickly. I did see an interesting thing, if you're there still keeping today. I was reading from a group that have somehow mastered using aluminium. Now, I don't know in what format, to store energy from solar panels. So a battery, in effect, but it's non-corrosive. It just stores until used. You'll probably hear a bit more about it shortly, but it's storing energy from the sun through solar powers into aluminium. Now, don't ask me to expand because they didn't expand when I read it, but it sounds very interesting. Aluminium does not rust, it does not degrade. Even the best AGM battery, lithium battery, has a lifespan. Aluminium does not. So that'll be interesting. Imagine having storage capacity through an aluminium something or other. That would be pretty cool. We could stop digging lead up and lithium. So I've got a quiz for you tonight. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But because you're all fairly knowledgeable, except Mac because she's so young, I asked this question. The quiz for me is to find out, without you getting up out of your chair or seat, or if you're lying in bed still, I don't want you to move. But I want you to type in roughly, if there were no shops open tomorrow, how much food in regards to days, weeks or months do you think you'd have to feed yourself and the other people in your house? So that's my question. Without getting up and looking and counting, 460 tins of baked beans? No, I don't want you to do that because you're all fairly clever and you would know what's in your freezer, fridge, cupboards. So how long could you feed yourself comfortably, even if you reduced your intake a little bit, just for obvious reasons, because you're not working? Don't need that much energy when you're not working. I've estimated about 2.5 months that we've got.
I would have said 3.
Well, 3 could be the go. BMAX says 3 to 4 months. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We can certainly reduce our intake. There's no question about that. But I'm interested to see where people are at. And High says 4 weeks for 3 of us. That's not including a never-ending supply of trout, which is pretty good. So we're getting figures around from a month to 3 or 4 months. And BMAC hit on a very poignant point. I'll give you a good example. You know, a tin of baked beans, normal full size, and say a tin of soup. Buttercup says 6 months.
Yeah, actually I reckon same with us, Buttercup, because
Yep.
I don't eat that much.
What I was going to say, a large tin of baked beans and a tin of, say, minestrone soup. I couldn't eat any more for the day. I'd probably, because we've got flour, I'd make, and I haven't got any yeast. You know, one of the funny things, in the flour aisle, there's no yeast. They've taken all the bloody yeast, but I can make unleavened bread anyway, so that's fine. We'd get by with just making very basic bread, naan bread if you like.
Oh my god, I couldn't. Well, we call them 2-minute noodles here. You just call them Roman or whatever you say.
Now, the reason I asked, I had an ulterior motive. Most of it, averaging out, it's about 2 to 3 months now. High has an advantage. Yep, preserved food. But let's say 2 to 3 months. I'm telling you, I know, I'm an expert in this field of growing veggies. You'd have a massive crop in 3 months. So even the food you've got there now, I would like you to think of it as supplementary food. In other words, until your garden starts producing, you'll eat directly from your stored food. But what you will do within 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, different stages, you will then treat your, say, rice in your cupboard as a supplementary food to some fresh vegetables. Make a, say, vegetarian curry, for example, or an egg curry if you've got chicken. So I'm trying to show you that you do have 2 to 3 months worth of food on average, but that's enough time to then grow food, and your stored food would then become supplementary, because your real ongoing food comes from your garden.
Oh, Scarlett missed the question. She's just come back. She had a phone call.
Oh, sorry, Scarlett, the question was, without looking and staying seated, how much food would you have to feed yourself, and if there are other people in your home, and how long would it last for?
Well, yeah, how long would it last?
Onion, garlic, always good. Ginger, they're medicine. Yep, look, I mean, Scarlett would know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to teach you all a very simple method. You know where you can get newspapers from, can't you? All right? Even on your lawn, your beautiful lawn that you can play lawn bowls on, it's so beautiful. I want you to put 3 layers of newspaper all over it. Okay? I then want you to put some dirt over the top of it, and then some manure, whatever you got. Leave it for 2 weeks, keep wetting it. Then come back and plant in it. Yes, your lawn will be destroyed.
Right.
That's the problem, but you'll grow a lot of food. You don't need to dig to grow a garden.
But
You need a growing medium.
We'll all move in with Scarlett because she's got 8 months, maybe 1 year's worth.
Yep.
So that's it.
Like I say, I reckon 2.5 months food.
I reckon 3.
And I know in 2.5 months I'll be eating out of a garden. No problem. Dill takes over everywhere. It's a pain in the ass. My daughter-in-law loves dill, and I gave her a packet of seeds, and I said, you only need to put a few in. She put the whole lot in there. I think there were 200 seeds, and the whole garden was taken over by dill. It self-seeds like you wouldn't imagine.
God, I don't like dill.
Yep. The old adage, and scientifically proven, you need 8 inches minimum of soil or medium, whatever it is, and you can grow. You don't need any soil if you do hydroponics. Dill is just a pain in the bum. I don't mind it, but only in very small bits. And my daughter-in-law just loves it, and she had acres of it growing.
I don't like. Oh, she was happy though. She was excited, wasn't she?
Yeah, she said, I'll make a dill sauce. I'm saying, no.
No, we don't eat it.
No, I'm good, I'll just have the cheese sauce, thank
So
you.
she's learnt to plant it in pots. Even then it can take over.
Excellent. One of the little tricks you can do, Buttercup, because you're in a great part of the year now for you and all the Northern Hemisphere, is you know the potatoes that you have in your cupboard and you think, oh, I'll throw those buggers out. No, even though they're not what they call
Edible.
probiotic seeded potatoes, they'll still grow. So if you've got a compost pile, just chuck them in there and cover them. Forget about them, because they'll be what we call bonus food.
Remember we did that, I don't know how many years ago, at Ingrid's. And then a couple of years later we went back and we were mucking around the backyard.
Yeah, and there were still
found-
potatoes. I did it actually. I found the worst piece of soil, got hardly any sunlight.
Yeah.
It had been used as a burn pile. Something, there was plenty of potash in there. And all I did was dug down about 6 inches, and there was a packet of potatoes with about 3 or 4 pound that were starting to send eyes out and getting a bit soft. and I threw them in it. And we didn't go back for a year
Oh, longer.
or longer, and we came back and we dug, and there's potatoes everywhere.
That was funny.
They're a bonus crop.
That was funny.
And the thing about potatoes, the old method, I'm talking about my grandfather's method, he'd wait until the plant was just about finished, and then while it was still strong and healthy, he's got his size 13 boots and he stomped all over his plants, crushed them, just crushed them,
See,
and then left them. And then during winter, he'd go back and dig out his potatoes. And he did that about 4 weeks before the cold came in, because what it does, the potatoes then basically take all the nutrition they can, because the plant above them has died, and they start to go into a phase ready for the next year's growing. That's what potatoes think. They want to live. But during winter you can dig them up. And he used to have rows and rows of these bloody potatoes. But I watched him, I said, what are you doing? And he said, this is how you do it. Up and down, 5 or 6 rows, about 40 foot long, all potatoes, and crushed them. And he explained to me. And then one part of the winter, he came outside and showed me. We were just digging up with a fork, and there were bloody potatoes everywhere.
I like dill pickles. Those really
Yeah,
sour
I make pickles. There's people who've watched my videos would know I love making pickles.
Yeah, but I don't like dill. It's funny that, isn't it? Oh yeah, I'd miss butter. But if you can get cream, you can make butter.
They're outlawed in Australia, carp, perch in general.
Where's my normal...
Hello, old gringo.
Like, you're supposed to say, hello, gorgeous mystical angel, or beautiful mystical angel, old gringo.
Are you suffering low self-esteem?
Don't come in and make excuses.
I've had watermelon pickle once. I quite liked it, actually. It's different, that's for sure, because it was the rind. Someone else mentioned it. Might have been Scarlett mentioned that a while ago.
No star for gringo.
But pickling food or brining food is another great way. There's nothing you can't brine, just about, to be honest.
I want a video of that, Buttercup. If you're going to go catch wild ducks, I want a video of you doing that.
-6. Woo. No planting for a while for you. Shotgun and retriever. I got all the weapons I need. But yeah, it was good to find out tonight that most of you are going to be fine for 2 or 3 months, some longer. The point being is that if you are stuck at home, you've only got a little bit of patch of growing area, just create something, keep yourself busy, and you also get I always do, get great satisfaction out of eating from my effort of growing food in the garden.
Buttercup, just go in the water and get them. Just catch them by hand. Come on, you can do it.
Well, like I say, you're about a month behind us, old gringo. Punch-ups are regular in supermarkets here.
Yeah, actually.
Seaweed's nice. I used to eat seaweed all the time. There's 2 types that I like. There's some you shouldn't eat though, VMAC, as you probably know. Yeah, all the same here, mate. Every day it's empty.
I've always appreciated what I have, high country, because I had times when I was growing up that we had nothing. And I remember back, Mum and Dad went without to feed us kids, so I appreciate everything.
No one, I don't think we're going to see people raid people's homes for food, because I think people will step up and help them before that happens. There will be, without doubt. I will guarantee this. You'll see this on the news soon. There'll be massive mobile kitchens, not just for the homeless or the itinerants. It'll be for people that they might have a few buses where they'll load up a heap of meals and they'll drop them off to old people. I'll guarantee you we'll see that real soon.
It's already started here. Scarlett's got heaps of wool. She's going to crochet us all a hat.
Just do it with a live sheep. It's far more interesting. There was a lovely old lady called Clara, which some of you know, who used to do about 10, 12 years ago videos on cooking from the Depression. Now, in the Depression, which was about the 30s, and went for a bit longer than that, people could get inventive with food, stretch food. My recipe that some of you have seen, called mock fish, which is actually grated potato, could be potato gratin, whatever you want to call it, but it's called mock fish in my family, was born out of the Depression. They had onions, potatoes. They didn't have much chance of getting pepper, but they had salt. Pepper was sort of added as the years went by. Pretty expensive in the 1930s, just go and get some pepper. And I grew up on a big pot on the back of my grandmother's stove, always full of something, and the pot never moved. It was just topped up each day. Tasted slightly different each day, but fill you up, and of course, just before you got your big bowl of whatever it was, there'd be 2 or 3 big dumplings in there. And we all know how to make dumplings, don't we? And they would fill you up with the broth, usually from some boned animal that I didn't know what was in there. But it had barley, pearl barley, carrots, onions, cabbage, you name it. Anything that grew in the garden got thrown in there. But dumplings, they filled you up. Flour dumplings. All sorts of ways to make dumplings. There's probably a billion ways to make dumplings.
So you reckon he's trying to protect his toilet rolls, hey Buttercup? He's her neighbour in
Hello, Mel.
The security thing.
But yeah,
Oh, it's
we can be inventive. You can make meals stretch. You can make them. Look, the first thing I always insist, it must taste good. Even though it may be made out of just basic foods, it tastes good. Dumplings are great. We're coming up to stew and dumpling season shortly. Hello, Ruja. It's like a good cobbler. When someone makes a beautiful, say, rhubarb or some type of fruit cobbler, I love that. And it's a similar principle to dumplings, actually. Not quite the same ingredients.
Oh, I don't like chili con carne.
Yeah, I make a good chili con carne.
Yeah, you make a good one, but I don't like it.
Too hot for the wife.
Mm.
It's got to taste good. It's got to smell good too, let's be honest. And look, I'll be honest, it doesn't have to look that good. I've been to people's places think, oh, that don't look too good, but it tastes good. I'm thinking, yeah, it's all right.
You don't like chili con carne either, Mel?
Gringers.
Oh,
I think she's saying gringo, but hello, Gringers.
yeah, no, Seeds does, not me.
I make all my own chili sauce. I do buy some because I like some of the flavours they make, but I do like it hot.
But do we have a new name? Gingers, she forgot the R.
I like it, VMAC, to burn, but then go. In other words, I don't mind the heat, I don't like the lingering. I've grown all sorts of chilies in my time. But it's a case of I like the burn, I like it to taste, and then I like it to go.
So VMAC likes it hot.
Some like it hot.
Well, you'll be fine with Seeds then. You two can sit down and blow your head off.
What was that TV show?
I could say
Blazing Saddles, that's right. Yeah.
I could say something, but I won't. Dear.
Yes, yep, I've done that. Actually, done one when I used a little bit of yogurt in there too. Very simple, it makes everything very light. The old dumpling, of course, when I grew up, were quite solid lumps, and they were broiled for quite a long time, but they used to get huge.
Oh, no VMAC.
It's good for your circulation, chili. I mean, I always thought it was, but then it was years later that a professor said it's actually true. It does help your circulation. Ginger, garlic, onions, chili, honey. He said those 5 things are gifts from the God. They are medicine. And they taste good.
I like chili, some chili stuff. It's just the amount of heat that it gives. That's what, but I just can't have it hot.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Scarlett. There's I've made the ones that Buttercup's talking about where you can make it quite flat. It's like scones. You can make scones very light by putting in yogurt. And there's a lot, you can make bread with yogurts too. You can make all sorts of things. All it does is open everything up a lot more when it's cooking. It gets very light. Sriracha is not really a chili sauce, Buttercup. That's like chili sauce for babies.
Yeah, but you like it as well. Well, Buttercup is. She's young.
You like it in my... I sometimes get away because when you cook fresh chilies, and I use Serrano generally, she's okay with that, but I've got to cut them really fine, and she can feel the little bit of warmth, and she's okay with that. But if I put some of my hot chili sauce in, she won't eat it. Hello, Black Cat.
Hey, Black Cat, haven't seen you for a while.
Yep, it's going to be locked down everywhere shortly, and sooner the better. Let's get it over and done with. I am delicate.
See, I like turmeric. Yes, you are, Butty. Butty is delicate.
We're good here at the moment. It's roll call. Everyone feeling good?
Yep,
Yep, I'm good.
everyone's fine because of
Yes,
Buttercup.
sí, señor. I'm good too. I'm a gringo, yeah. Wow, 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 wow. I'm feeling okay. Wow, 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 wow.
That's his theme song now, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of us in Australia, and I mean a lot of us, are not waiting for the government. That's why people have been doing what they're doing, shopping, buying heaps of food. They're hunkering down. Yeah, I heard similar things, Black Cat, but it's not been confirmed. But it seems that humans can transmit it to dogs, but dogs can't transmit it back. That's what I've heard. Because at one stage, some people in Japan were starting to euthanize their pets. I'm thinking, wait a second. So I do hope some of you come up with some good little simple cooking recipes with some of the stored foods you have. Maybe do a video. Pandemic Pantry. There you go. I've just given you a tip. Pandemic Pantry. This is what I made from my dry goods, beans, rice, flour. Why not? Soups. One thing that you will survive well on. If all you did every day was make a big broth of soup with whatever you can throw in there, you can eat tons of it, and it's good for you, it's nutritious, and you can make it stretch like you can't imagine.
Love soup, actually. Soup, stews.
Like I say, if you want to store pumpkin, buy butternut pumpkin. They're good for 6 to 12 months in a dark cupboard. As long as you don't live in the Sierra Leone desert.
Oh yeah, we actually saw that on the
I've
news,
seen
Black
that.
Cat.
Buttercup, I've seen red lentil used as like a sauce for spaghetti. I've got to tell you that the spaghetti Bog made the other night, it's not bad, was it? Didn't last though because
It was mediocre. No, I was just kidding.
our daughter took the half that we were going to have today home with her. Yep, barley is very underrated. I bet you make barley like I do sometimes, like a couscous. It's barley, but it's mixed in with other bits and pieces. It's a great base
I love
for a
couscous.
couscous type meal.
What's the other one? Polenta. I like
Polenta,
polenta,
yeah.
couscous. Yum. Semolina.
Semolina, lina, lina, semolina, lean. Lina, semolina.
Now I'm going to think of that song, Thumbelina. I haven't heard that song in
Oh, I
years.
love your Les split peas. They make a good broth on their own. They make pan ham soup heaven. But barley's really good. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that with particularly pearl barley. particularly if you cook it in something, like you make a broth up, and then it's virtually getting to full size. Because barley never really goes really soft. If you've ever cooked a stew too long, you think, oh, but the barley's all so. No, it's still good, still nutty. Hours later, it's a great grain. You can cook it, you can steam it. All different ways of doing barley, and lots of grains.
Amaranth and all them are all making a comeback, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we don't. I probably have got in the freezer, I'm talking kilo, probably about 8-9 kilo of proteins, which is a lot of protein for us. Because if any of you seen us cook, we normally cook 10% protein and 90% vegetable.
Oh, yeah, tapioca.
Yeah, really good. It's
I like tapioca.
nutritious and gets into babies and old people really easily.
Frogs' eggs.
But we bought stuff we wouldn't normally eat, like packaged of those continental pastas and rices. And I did one up a couple of weeks ago with some ground beef, and I made the ground beef cooked, and then I added a little bit of chicken stock in there, and then I put a bit of water, and I added the packet of fried rice from Continental, and I just simmered it for another 15-20 minutes. Of course, it all starts to dry out and fill up, and it was actually quite good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's lots of things people would use hamburger
Yeah,
helper
rice was
instead,
alright.
but that's what I used.
Well, we've got a pack
Rice
of that.
pudding's good.
We've got a pack of hamburger helper.
Rice pudding, oh yeah, bread and butter pudding.
I like tapioca pudding. What's your signature dessert, everyone?
Mine's very simple. Apple crumble.
Apple crumble. Yeah, you still
I
make
love
that.
apple crumble.
No, but is that your signature dessert? Like,
If I was asked to make a dessert, that would be what I'd make.
not a pavlova?
Well, no, I can make pad, but no, definitely apple crumble, where the fruit is. Because I cheat. I'm sure Scarlett knows. I cook some apple quite down, but then I cook some apple just par cooked, and they're combined into the apple crumble. So you got a bit of both. Of course, lots of butter, sugar and flour, and the crumbs.
Yep,
Rub
cheese.
between your fingers.
I'm with black
Bit of
cat
cinnamon.
cheesecake.
And when it comes out the oven, you can hit it, and the apple crumble sounds like this. Nice and crunchy. Demerara sugar if you got it. If not, any sugar will do.
Yep, we're the same, Buttercup. What have I got? Blackberries.
That sounds pretty complicated. I bet I can make my apple crumble quicker, Scarlett.
No, but I'm saying, what's your signature like? What's your favourite dessert you're good at making and that you like to
Apple
make?
crumble, absolutely.
Yeah, and Scarlett's.
I can make lots of desserts. You name it, rice puddings,
And Scarlett's is a
all different
fancy
types
one.
of pies, but definitely I love apple crumble. Yeah, I don't like oats in my
Yeah,
apple
see?
crumble.
Yeah.
I've had it, and if you go to a fancy restaurant, Buttercup, most of the time, it's oats. And I'm thinking, nah.
Maybe that's an English thing because Australians don't put oats
No,
in
it's
their
more of a
apple
Scottish
crumble.
thing, I'll be honest. Because in England it would be just flour, butter, and sugar.
Yeah, we don't put oats in.
But yeah, no, I've tried the. I'll eat oats. Don't get me wrong. Oats. Some of you probably wouldn't like it. I like just raw cut oats with milk.
No, I've got to cook it. I like
I don't need
porridge.
it cooked, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, I like porridge. Yum. With cinnamon.
But you know, in the UK as a boy, I've got to be honest. Pudding was the filler.
You see,
Dinner was whatever you could get, but
Yeah.
pudding would always be there,
it's funny that how.
and it would fill you up.
It's funny how you like that was a thing. Like I said,
Well, I've got to be honest. It's poor people's food.
I didn't grow up with pudding, so
Banana cream pie. That sounds yum.
that does.
Typical meal would be something in the big pot on the back of the stove, a broth and lots of things thrown in it, with dumplings. So that would be a pretty common meal most nights. But pudding could vary. It could be spotted dick. Not many people here would know what spotted dick is, Buttercup, would they? Scarlett would know.
So
Uh, spotted dick. You'd have apple and custard,
You could have
rhubarb and custard,
You could have it on your oiled
steamed puddings, which I love steamed pudding, which is suet pudding.
steak.
So yeah, puddings were what you left the table with feeling full.
I think I have to go to bed.
After the main meal of something in a big pot on the back of the stove, you were still like, yeah, I could do with a bit more. And then woomph, big bowl of rice pudding. You're good to go.
So you can have spotted dick on your oiled deck.
Yes, during summer week and Buttercup's
I need
here,
to go
I'll
to
spoil her
bed.
with a spotted dick on my oiled deck. Meat, potato, fish, potato. Yep. I love steamed pudding. I really do. And it's got to be made with suet, which is fat. Get out, down, spot. Macbeth, Scarlet Macbeth. Good evening, Richard III.
Yeah, see,
I knew him well.
salad was a big thing in our family. We had salad with nearly every meal. It was usually a cucumber and tomato and onion salad with vinegar and oil. And we'd all fight over drinking the juice that was left in that salad. That was yum.
But look, I mean, we had salad sandwiches for dinner
And
because I didn't
yeah,
cook. I was working, and the wife was kind enough to slave over a hot loaf of bread and make dinner.
I love salad sandwiches. I could eat that every day. And of course, I grew up potatoes every night. Doesn't matter what the meal was, there was potatoes somewhere.
It's the most versatile. Pumpkin, potatoes, onions. You can make just a bit anything.
Oh God, it's steak and kidney. Yeah.
I like Indian pudding, cornmeal, molasses. Actually, Indians and Asians, they love sweets.
Dried fruit. Some dried fruit I like, buttercup, not a lot. But if I had it, I'd eat it.
I know if I got all of you, and let's say I picked VMAC, Buttercup, and Scarlet, and I gave you 4 ingredients, I would guarantee each of you could make a dozen meals out of them.
You didn't include VMAC in that because there'd be meat in it.
No, I did
so-
say VMAC.
Oh, did you?
I just said 4 ingredients. I didn't say meat. Meaning that you can be creative, inventive. You probably go, well, that one didn't turn out too good, but then you realise why. So 4 ingredients can make a lot of different meals, but you wouldn't make any the same. If I got all of you to put 10 meals down with the 4 ingredients, there'd be some similar, but most would be different. 4 ingredients, not foreign. VMAC, you're young. Do you need a hearing aid? Hello? VMAC? Spin your wheelchair around. You can't hear me, dear. Oh, she's sneezing again. Push around the other side of the Christmas tree so we can put some more decorations on. Oh, look, all the nice frostings.
I'll go and check out 4 ingredients now. Come quick. 4 ingredients.
Oh, I can make it really simple. Potatoes, onions, beans of some sort, and bread. They'll know what I'm going with the bread. All sorts of things. You can make dumplings out of bread.
Yeah, you can make dumplings.
You
but
can
I would-
fry it.
I could have a potato.
You could bake it.
What did you say?
You could coat it.
I could have a potato, beans, onion sandwich.
Well, that's getting real basic.
Because I love bread.
You're a grandmother. Oh my God. Fairmac must be just over 30. I thought she was 22.
You could make a bean soup, potato, bean, onion soup, and have bread with it.
The quick one in there, if thrown at me, I'd say, okay, I'm going to make you what we call bread soup, which would be some sort of bean, legume, crushed. I'd put in potatoes. I'd put in bread. Of course, you can cheat by adding a bit of stock. That's not in the 4 ingredients, but it would be the old-time potato and bread soup. There are so many things you can do with all different foods,
Oh, yeah, potato pancakes.
and being creative means that you can stretch them further.
I wonder what
Leftovers are just another meal
What about-
waiting to be developed.
bean pancakes would be like. You could make pancakes. Bean, onion, potato pancakes. Oh yeah, fried.
Yep. I mean, I'll guarantee you that if all of us were in, say, Southampton, 1942, we don't know whether we're going to get bombed or not, but we'll be gathering around thinking about, oh, I've got some eggs. I've got some eggs. You can have some eggs. Oh, you don't want eggs. That's right. You don't eat eggs. Or I've got some cabbage. What have you got? Oh, I'll have some of that celery. Or because we're down in Southampton now, or like that. Or
Well, that guy'd be happy. Black Cat.
and we'll all be drinking cider.
Did you read Black Cat's comment?
No, it's too quick sometimes for me. Black Cat says, over here, there's a guy in quarantine in a whorehouse. He's the only man with 5 whores for 3 weeks. I want to get ill. I want to get ill. Well, we know some bloke in a van will probably get caught and get the coronavirus and be stuck in a proctologist office. Mind you, he'll be singing like, heaven, I'll be there. Da 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 da, in heaven. Potato cakes.
Dixon's.
Yep.
We've had Dixon's cider, haven't we? I think we have.
Yes, you can come here,
Yes.
Mel.
Mel, you can come here.
I have just a little tiny French dress for you to wear with a duster,
Now that she'll be able
and
to.
you can do other dusting because there's shitloads of dust here, Mel.
God, don't talk to me about dust.
Mind you, I'm creating most of it, sanding.
That's a good idea, VMAC. Did you read what VMAC wrote? Community soup. My grandmother's family used to make it during the war and rationing.
Mhm.
Everyone bought what they had left the day or two before, and the new ration books came. Oh, that's cool.
It's like you wouldn't believe parsnip mash. Actually tastes really good. Salt butter.
Yep, get you in uniform, Mel.
Yeah, definitely get your uniform. It's the old saying, really. We're at this time on this planet where necessity is the mother of invention. It will bring out the creativity in many people who didn't think they had it.
Well, if Mel comes and my dusting gets done, I'll be happy.
I'll be happy. I'm just about finished sanding. Few more little jobs to do.
Yeah, see, we can see who we can
Be
play
right
for.
back. Oh, VMAX
Oh.
after a gold star.
Yes. So she gets a swirly one.
But like I say, if you think about times that were tough for people in the past, you've all just said you got 2 or 3 months worth of food. You really can double that. You can extend that at least by double.
Yeah, as long as maybe I should just get another tin of coffee. I can't run out of coffee.
No, that's true.
It's up there with chocolate. No.
But I can't believe when we look today, there's no yeast. Normally there's always yeast. But people are thinking the same thing, make bread.
Yeah, but the other.
Mel's going to be right back. She wants 3 stars.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago we couldn't get. Well, a week ago we couldn't get flour. We got the flour, and now we can't get the yeast.
No.
Oh, you can still do it without yeast.
Yeah, just make unleavened bread. That's probably the most eaten bread around the world. There's no yeast in it. Naan bread. What's the other one? The Lebanese bread.
Yeah, well, I actually grabbed myself another box of tea.
On an English country
I
garden,
do.
buttercups drinking cup of tea.
I do like my cup of tea in the
Dogs going
morning.
in the garden to do a wee.
in an English country. God, and in Wales. I mean, Wales, not good. England?
So you have tea leaves, hey, Butty?
Yes, you can, of course, Scarlett. Normally takes 3 to 4 days, and you just keep it going. You can make normal flour rise, you're quite correct. I'm talking about the immediacy. I can mix it up and make like a naan bread very, very quickly.
There you go, you have to...
Or pita bread.
Bonach. Is that how you say it? Bonach?
Make bonach.
Is that how you
No
say
yes needed.
it? Is that how you say it?
Bonach.
You can make a bonach, VMAX said.
No, I do that sometimes. I sometimes use some of that starter when I make scones.
See you, Black Cat.
Because it just adds that little bit of extra.
She's going to look for rice and pasta, Black Cat. Well, good luck, Black Cat.
You don't need a lot of rice.
We'll send out the search party if we don't hear from you in a month.
Black Cat, may the force be with you.
Well, I just have to go to VMAX. Sounds like she's got a whole basement
Yep, you
full
can.
of coffee.
But I do it the other way, Scarlett. I definitely make my own agent by flour, leaving it overnight and let it go, blub, 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 blub. And then I leave it for another night. Depends how hot the weather is, of course.
See ya, high country.
But that'll give you sourdough. And the only reason it rises is because it's got gas.
High country.
Yeah, I used to do that when I go camping. You can make bush noodles by using a stick. There's a special Italian name for this type of noodle, but you roll out dough really, really thin, and then you get a stick and you put it on a 45-degree angle and you roll it. So it ends up flattening and getting like a big curl. Pull it off the stick, put it in the boiling water. It's called bush pasta.
I hope you're kidding, Gringo. This is... Oh, found roadkill. Possum.
I'd eat it. Oh, not possum. No, they stink.
We can't eat ours. I wouldn't want to anyway. Yes, VMAX could have coffee and chocolate stored. Buttercup's got chocolate and tea stored.
Well, in England it is trouble and strife and the world is coming over into doomy, glimy type sort of conditions. Just have a cup of tea. It may not change the circumstances, but it'll make you feel better. Sip, raise little finger up in the air, for what reason I don't know, but every time you have a cup of tea, you do that anyway.
Yeah, no, it's think about what you can't, like I said, I like coffee, chocolate, bread. Now, that's really hard to put in any order, those three things.
What's that?
They're all favourite. It's funny what you sort of really think you couldn't do without. Mine's coffee, bread and chocolate.
Well, I know, without doubt, I can, well, we ate probably at 7, which was quite late for us here. But I can eat, say, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, not a big meal, but a meal, and then I can wait a whole 24 hours. And then I can eat again 3 or 4 o'clock the next day. I have the ability to eat not that much, and I'm okay. And I've been working, don't get me wrong. I was up early and I worked hard all day, but we had salad sandwiches for dinner. Uh-oh. Look out, Gringo. There's a new kid in town. Gringo looks left. VMAX looks right. And Gringo you can see running to the hills
Oh, hello, Gringo.
to fight another day.
He's in the store.
Who is?
Gringo's...
Oh, he's in the store. Okay.
Be right back, he's in the store, right. You get a staffer saying be right back. Tell us what you buy. You should make you do a live. Take us to the shop with you, Gringo.
You'll get by with a little help from your friends. You'll get high if VMAX catches you. Oh,
Listen.
Gringo.
Just say hello to the shop people for us. To ask them if they're having a great day from Australia. From the YouTube celebrities down under.
I don't know who you're talking about. Yep, you'd like to say rice is incredibly a filler. 100 grams, whatever there is in ounces, I think it's a couple of ounces. That feeds the two of us. Put in some bits and pieces to add to it, leftovers, whatever, and you got like a stir-fried rice that will feed you for a couple of days. So you don't need a lot of rice.
Mate, that was, what's the name? What was that guy? Couple of days, mate.
No worries. Couple of days. That was Cole,
That's it.
the fruitier. I did hear, and I'm not making it up, that they are thinking of rounding up itinerants, homeless people, for their safety, because they are always in shops with lots of people. They're unclean, and they could transmit or be asymmetrics and pass it on. So there is talk in the US of rounding up homeless and itinerants. And I do know that in certain states like Illinois, New York, and others have already implemented and are going to implement shutdowns. You may not be able to get into Chicago. So that's interesting. Caught in no man's land. Because that's what will be happening.
Yeah, I did see that Bearmaker's on and everything. Gringo's taking us in the shop with him. Look for the chocolate, Gringo.
Put the chocolate down, kid.
How much is the chocolate?
Actually, you know, I didn't buy any today, but 4 kilos of potatoes was $2.
Wow. Don't forget milk, bread, coffee, Gringo.
And simply boiling. Say you got lots of potatoes. You think, oh, they're going to go bad if I don't do something with them. Boil them till they're parboiled. So you put a, you know, you can get a fork all the way through it, but it's still firm, but it's cooked. Just put them in the fridge. They're good for 10 days, cooked. You can make all sorts of wonderful things out of cold potatoes.
Yeah, you can. You can make croquettes.
Everything.
Cool.
You know it, you can make it.
Croquettes, yep, yum. Croquet.
Oh, and we didn't film it, but I had a shower in our new shower tonight.
Boy, yeah.
It's like going to a hotel. Very
You
flash.
did, didn't you?
Because our 2 new heaters got put on.
The soup kitchen that you help at went to a takeout system.
I'm just going to the toilet. I will be back. $1 chocolate. Ooh.
What chocolate
Sounds like
is
a bargain.
What chocolate is that? Yes, I'm with Matt. Get the chocolate. Well, Buttercup's not here right now, but don't forget tea for Buttercup, coffee for VMAC and I. Well, as long as the chocolate's still on the peanut, that's fine. It's got to say, never take an almond or a peanut off anyone in a nursing home. Because they could have been chocolate coated once. Yeah, we do that, we mate. Gringo, is there any cheesecake in the shop? Oh yeah, I'll have one of those. Chocolate ice cream, yep. Is it vanilla ice cream covered in chocolate? Are you listening to us while you're in the shop, Gringo? If there's your shop people can hear us, they're going to think, well, here, just us. Oh, you've got a headset in. Yes, yes. No, I don't feel like Chinese food tonight. Is there any nice apples? Get a couple of good apples. Oh, and bananas. I like bananas too. No, don't feel like pizza. Are you in a fast food shop or in a supermarket? Oh yeah, I'll have French bread pizza. Yep. Has it got pineapple on it? Because I like pineapple. So can you ask for pineapple and extra cheese, please?
It's pizza time, is it?
Well, I'm not sure if we're in a supermarket with him or in a fast food now.
He does like his pizza, but I do know he likes his pizza cold.
Seeds likes chocolate drumsticks better than I do. So
Oh,
grab a
no,
box.
I like the boysenberry ones if I ever have any.
Yeah, get a boysenberry drumstick for seeds. Oh, you're at a dollar store.
You have to ask yourself this question. If you're buying food and it's $1, what is it?
It doesn't matter in times of necessity, does it? So you got earplugs in. So you're walking around the store listening to us and reading the text. Are you walking around cracking up and everyone's looking at you? I'll tell you a joke, make you laugh out loud while you're in the middle of the shop.
Oh, he's a window shopper. All right, how many windows are you going to buy, sir?
Alright, that's it.
Yeah, I'm with you, VMAC.
Step away from there, Gringo. Find another shop to take us into.
What about a fresh food shop? Groceries, like vegetables.
TV dinner, Salisbury steak.
Ooh. Use by date, 2126. 120 years use by date. Yeah, it's got to be good. Probably came from the factory near Fukushima.
What shops are either side of this Dollar Tree store, whatever it's
I
called?
reckon it'd be the 50-cent shop and the $2 shop.
Take us into another shop, Gringo. We don't want to be in there now. Do not buy the tin chicken.
Nuclear gravy. That's it. That's what should be on the packet. Fukushima gravy. Go for the glow.
Oh, that's all you do. Well, you can do things with the noodles. Like, Mum, there was a time Mum sort of was going through things, didn't feel well, but we call them 2-minute noodles. It's just the noodles with
Just
this
ramen noodles is
sachet.
what they are. Yeah.
Yeah, we call them 2 minutes. And she used to add an egg in it when she cooked it. And sometimes other veggies in with it.
Key lime pie. Check these by date. 2525. In the year 2525, Gringo's eating lime pie.
I couldn't.
He will eat this and never die.
Yeah, it's like I said, Mum added an egg in there and sometimes beans and would cook it. Dad used to
Honestly,
enjoy that.
half a cup of flour, pinch of salt, 1 egg. Roll into dough, get it to that nice consistency, cover it in plastic. Roll it out, you have a meal for 3 people. Noodles, spaghetti, little thumb noodles, whatever shape you want to make.
I must
Little ribbons,
admit,
half a cup of flour. Goes a long way.
sometimes I do like a pack of beef 2-minute noodles. Don't have them often, but sometimes I
No.
do.
$2 Kit Kat ice cream. Go for it.
Oh yeah, I'll have one of them.
I bet there's no damn toilet paper there, look.
No, you already said that.
No toilet paper?
No.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Hey, do you know what one of our local newspapers in Australia did? The middle of the newspaper, the 4 pages were left blank. purposely not printed on. So,
You can wipe your ass.
so for emergency. I thought it was quite funny.
Now that's a lift out worth having.
Yep, they skipped the centerfold that week.
Yes, if you're down to real rations, get half a cup of flour and half a cup of rice, you'll be fine. No, do just fresh pasta, VMAC, is what you're making. Hello, Buddy Bob. Definitely, for half a cup of flour, you can make a lot of things. But it's true, like we found out tonight, most of us have got a couple of months worth of food, which you can stretch out if you have to. And in 2 months, you can grow a lot of things in the garden.
No, Gringo,
Food's not a problem.
I don't eat dark chocolate.
Your sister loves it, doesn't she?
Yeah, both my sisters. And the kids.
Mm.
They all eat dark chocolate. William.
It's just too bitter
It's
for
just
me.
you and I think we're the only ones
No,
that
I
don't.
mean, look, I mean, some things you have dark chocolate and you like because it's mixed with other
Mixed,
things.
Yeah. But I tried a cherry ripe tonight, which I haven't had in, how long?
I don't
Over
know.
a year. And I didn't like it.
Our pasta comes, and it'd be same in Canada, usually, and the UK. It'd be 500 grams as a normal size packet of whatever pasta. That is a lot of pasta. That's about 3 big cups of, or 4 big cups of pasta. That's a lot of food. Yes. Lockdowns happening as we speak, bully, everywhere. Haven't you noticed? Yeah, it goes a long way. I actually quite like, as a preference, I do like linguine, but I do like little shell pasta because it picks up all the sauces. Yum. And occasionally I make my own pasta. It's very rewarding, and it's, you know, you can make it and cook it in no time, 3 or 4 minutes. Homemade pasta is ready to go. VMAC extends 14-foot lead weight in exchange. So, Bully, how much, without looking in your cupboard, fridge and freezer, how much food have you got, Bully, and how long would it last for? Bully always lies. Compulsive is a disorder. Oh yeah, he's starting to spend up now. He's got a basket. I always laugh. You see someone go in the shop just to get, they're there to get a couple of things. One under the arm, one under the other. And then they are, fuck it, they're going to get a trolley. It's funny watching that.
What about eggs, Gringo? Are there any eggs? Go down and check if there's eggs.
No, VMAC does not come up. She will one day, Bully, but when you see her face, that's the last thing you will ever see. Eggs are another thing. You make so much out of eggs.
Yeah. Gringo's making his way to the egg aisle. Don't forget to get yourself some eggs, Gringo.
Yeah, my grandparents were born in the late 19th century, so 1890s and things like that. And I learnt a lot from my grandparents. And it's old school stuff, basic stuff, nutritious, filling stuff. That's very valuable.
Yeah, we want the Cadbury Easter eggs, but I do need eggs, BMAX, so you can grab a carton of them as well.
Hello, cereal dust. That sounds like what I find sometimes when the grandkids have been in my cereal. Open up the packet, it's just dust down
My
the
house
bottom.
is full of dust right now.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be a bit brave there, Buttercup.
Oh, Buttercup.
March is a traditional nightmare in England. Oh, spring, yeah. What's that? That's 2 inches of frost. Usually after March, my grandfather would say. 1st of April, you're good to go. Depends where. If you're northern England, yeah, definitely wouldn't be planting until April. But you can start them off. You can always get a little greenhouse going or a little cover.
What is sunbat? VMAC asks, what is
Oh, I didn't see that.
SOMBAT? What do you mean sorbet? Sorbet.
I think it's sorbet. Is that what he's
Sorbet?
trying to say? Nah, I mean, you can always cheat, Buttercup. You can always put a blanket over them. Just to give that extra. Or a light sheet, that will do it.
Alright, Gringo, you've got your pasta. Have you got my eggs?
I'm good on the cooking, Butter Buddy. I'm real good on the cooking. I can grab whatever you think you can imagine. And I've been through shit, so I got the trifecta. Doing it tough is good sometimes. When you reach a low point in your life for whatever reason, through circumstances beyond your control most of the time, you either fold or you show resilience and you push through. And it's tough, but it's a great learning curve. I don't have to need it. I'm in Australia, buddy. I never need a grow light, trust me. During the middle of winter, we get 11 hours of sunlight. We're good.
Okay, I have to Google this sunbat. I have no idea. SOMBAT. Yeah, but Gringo, I haven't got eggs. I asked you to get me a carton, please.
I'm getting solar panels put on tomorrow, actually, Billy. When you walk in a storm, hold your head up high. All right, where's the next verse? Come on, guys.
I've had powdered eggs once, buddy. I will have them if I have nothing else. I'm not that keen on them.
He goes to Danoi, a sunlight place near Da Nang in Vietnam. Where you been? I've been to Hanoi.
Yeah, I suppose, buddy, for baking it'd be handy, wouldn't it?
It could be. This may be penance.
I think
you're
maybe,
seeing, VMAC.
yeah, maybe because he heard
Maybe
the amount,
he's self-flagellating as he's speaking to you.
maybe it's because he heard the amount of chocolate we're getting. I think I just better go check if this is the real bully. It's after Buttercup's tea and our chocolate.
but it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. Financially, yeah. You got to think logically. If the financial system collapses, it's because everyone's going down. So we all then, when it looks like it's going to go back up again, some of us won't obviously survive the financial crash, but most of you will start again. Just living without money is okay, but when everyone gets crushed, everyone can grow back like little seedlings in the future. So the financial situation does not bother me at all. I do hope, buddy, that people take on board to actually start growing a few things. Some things that people have forgotten.
So far your shopping list is looking okay.
Diced tomatoes, they're good. You can add them to lots of things.
Yeah, he's got pasta, mushrooms. Yep, that'll be a nice meal you're making then. Beef. Is this all from the Dollar Tree shop?
He went in there just holding a few things. Now he's got a basket. I bet he's got 2 trolleys now. And then he'll get to the checkout and they say, you can't have all that. Time's tough. You can just take the chocolate. That's it.
I'm glad to see he's got chocolate ticked.
Actually, it's one of those things, without being too derogatory towards your bully, it's not you that gets the opportunity to hold out the olive branch. You maybe misunderstand the termination of olive branch. It's usually when people have been wronged that they, if they wish to, hand out the olive branch. Not the one that's been doing the wronging, if you like, but the wronged. So you holding out olive branch is not really appropriate. It's for others to do so. You could just say, I'm really sorry for my behaviour and I've seen the light and I'm now basically going to be a good bloke, because it's not for you to offer the olive branch. You misunderstand the interpretation of that. Behaviour is based on time, not one time, and we are the sum of our behaviours. Excellent, that's a good start. I'm sorry for my behaviour. That's good. You know when you've got a bad behaviour when other people are offended, all of the time. That means it's not them, it's you. So that was a good move. I apologise for my behaviour. Excellent.
Yeah, B-Mac, everybody needs a coffee, please. Bring us all one back.
Do you want me to go and put the kettle on?
It's 10:30. If I have one now, I'll be up all night peeing.
That's all right, you can help. You can start painting early. Yep, Bob Dylan songs will probably get played a lot. The times they are a-changing.
Oh, he did a rewrite.
It's going to get a gold star.
He is too.
Probably yellow, not gold, not yet.
No, can I want it? Oh, B-Mac needs one.
But let's not forget, most of us here that are on the internet have the ability to do so because we can afford to have the internet, which means if, when the time comes, you can offer help to someone else. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's true.
A small gesture goes a long way in times of trouble.
Help where you can.
Not money, not time, maybe a box of food, maybe just, I'll go and get your groceries for you, Mrs. Smith, or something like that.
Butty's got chocolate biscuits.
There's a golden don't lie. Do, 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 do. Money's only been a transfer of what we believe is what something's worth, buddy. I love barter. I don't mind growing 2 big pumpkins if in the middle of summer you hand over the fence 2 large watermelons. That's currency. It's an agreed value. That will always be the case. I always think, even like if, say, you come over and give me a hand to pull down my shed that I'm pulling down tomorrow. Well, when it comes to time, maybe you need a roof pitched on your shed, I'll be there to give you a hand. Nothing to do with money. And the biggest thing you can give anyone, far more valuable than money, is time.
And trade knowledge as well.
And the best way to learn things is to do them. And I'll guarantee you, if you grab one of your kids or grandkids and said, we're gonna teach you to cook, and then they cook and they burn something, or it's terrible, you say, that's okay. You've got to be a bit more compassionate and say, look, okay, I can show you where you went wrong. And then they go, oh, I see what I did. Yeah. That's like everything in life. The best way to become good at something is to do it, not the theory. Someone saying, like, I'm the full-time expert on RVs, but hasn't got a spanner to undo anything, or a screwdriver, or no idea how to apply them, doesn't make you an expert at all. It just means you're full of shit. You can say it either way you like, but like saying you're the king of freedom, well, when you're tied down living in a car park, let's be honest, you're no king. And in fact, if anything, you'd be a car park king. That would be the best you could actually crown yourself. And then if you sing, and I don't sing that well, but when you profess to be the best singer in the world, and you sound like a crow's been run over by a forklift, no, that's not true. So they're not realities of them. They're delusions, but they're not realities. And then, of course, when you actually say you're the best at what you do, I always find this quite funny, because when you do nothing, is that a category that you become the best of? You get up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, fart, probably do a little bit of funny business with yourself, run round and eat 9 hamburgers, sit back and talk about how good you can sing, cook. Well, you can't cook really. Boiling steak is not a craft.
And then down someone that's helped you.
Yeah, and then just basically crap on someone that spent months giving you things. Or, well, it's normal for your behaviour, because then you'll say that I'm the best in the business. They're delusions. And I get it, everyone else gets it. It's one of those things that, because you live a life of delusion and you say things over and over, you get to believe them. But they're far from the truth. Here is a summary of that poor man in the van. Hello, Jan. He is low self-esteem. He is frightened of even squirrels, let's be honest. And not even big squirrels, just squirrels in general. Dogs and cats he'll feed by throwing a tin of baked beans at them. What other? No other animals. And we talk about relationships with humans. Well, yeah, I'm so depressed and so low self-esteem, I can't talk to people correctly. And when I do talk, I talk in a sexist manner, and I'll always turn things over to talk about sex. Do you know, when you sum it all up, I wouldn't want to be that person. No. Living a life of delusion. Hygiene is awful. Health is terrible. I'm losing all my hair, and I'm morbidly obese. If that's what the king of freedom is supposed to be, I want to be a slave.
B-Mac, where is our coffee? Because Butty has the chocolate bickies to go with the coffee. Oh, and she wanted a tea. Did you bring Butty's cup of tea back?
Sadly, I mean, you can put it quite simply. I said it years ago. when I first saw the pitiful person on that screen. He is a dancing monkey for any organ grinder who wishes to play. That's it. It's a pitiful life. It's terrible. Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Well,
Yeah, VMAT doesn't like tea.
But he needs a cup of tea. She's got the chalky biscuits, so bring her a cup of tea.
One of the things that I'm aware of that a lot of people are, there's a fine line between delusion and reality for the person who's deluded. In other words, they think it's real. Hello, Leroy. I think the end is near.
For him, we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, not.
Yep. But we are all a sum of our history. And I used to laugh when I watched a video a couple of years ago where Rosie was saying something about the Alamo. So I listened, and it was like, at the Alamo, and we're here. And I'm thinking, Rosie, worst metaphor you could ever make. Every American at the Alamo got killed. That was, for me, was pathos or irony. It's like, so you're making an example of making a last stand at the Alamo. They all died. Pick your metaphors a little bit better. I mean, she could have made just as worse a summary, a metaphor, as saying, we're here at the Little Big Horn and I'm Custer. Same result. They all died. No, I don't think so, Jan. Not capable of social interaction. He needs therapy, remedial therapy, cognitive learning, and needs to understand that a delusion is just that, a delusion. It's not reality. Until reality is faced, he'll still live this pitiful dancing monkey life. That's it. You're all as old as me, or some of you are even older. But delusion and lying is limited. It's very easy to remember the truth and to live a deluded lifestyle. You're the only person you're deluding in the end, not others. They see it.
My phone's going to die shortly.
I think he's in more trouble than you think in a very short-term basis, Buttercup. Very, very shortly. There'll be cordoned off areas. There'll be no homeless on the streets. They'll remove them. Itinerants will be moved on or put in camps because lockdown in certain cities means you can't get in and you probably can't get out. And one of the biggest cities in America is Chicago. And they could quite easily, in a very short period of time, close the town.
Well, he
or the city.
procrastinated. He should have been back with his mother by now. He's not back there, is he?
Well, he loves his mother. He hasn't
He
seen her
should-
for a year,
he-
but I love her mum.
With what's happening, even maybe probably not a good idea to go in and visit because you don't know where he's been, but he should be near. He should have been there by now.
Well, he doesn't care for him. He really is a sociopath, a narcissist, if you will, and it cares for no one else except his own gratuitous needs. That's it. Honestly, if there was a person who fell over in front of him and obviously was having a seizure or a heart attack, he would run the other way. He has a flight instinct of feral squirrels. He typically is a cartoon character when that cartoon in that balloon movie when he turned around, squirrel, run, rabbit, run,
That's
rabbit, run,
it's a good song.
run,
Though.
run.
Run, rabbit, run,
He's after a large black man to tickle his bum. He'll get by with a little humble pie. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. I don't know what it is about Americans. I've got some really good American friends, and I truly mean that. But they're all the same. They're either red or they are blue.
Oh, that's just their history.
And if you weigh up the consequences of either left or right, if you want to look at it that, everybody has different traits and different values, but some are blue values and some are red values. There is no distinguishing in the USA. You're either a Democrat or a Republican. And I find that extraordinary. If I was voting for the Republican Party at a certain time, but then I thought their policies weren't what I liked, I'd vote for the other side. So you start thinking, there will always be close votes in America based on the fact that traditionally, families, generations of families are blue or red. And they shall not cross the Dixie line, no.
That was a good accent.
Oh, Mama told me.
You'll be bringing out the, what is it they play?
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
What do you call that instrument?
Well, it's the theme song from Boyd called Deliverance.
I know, but what's the instrument now? I can't think of it.
And I'm not special, but I've sat down with two prime ministers of my country, had a beer with one and told the other one to get stuffed. And you're not going to get arrested in Australia for that. Imagine someone walking up to Donald Trump saying, "You're a total knobhead, Trump. Now piss off." Yeah, probably guys in black would take you away, I imagine.
You'd be arrested. So
You'd spend the rest of your life in Guantanamo. I only told Trump to get stuffed. You're a national security threat, son. You're going down.
So you got your shopping home,
Down,
Gringo?
down, like a burning ring of fire. He doesn't understand what he says, VMAC. It truly is delusional. He is the best example of someone living their life as a third person. This third person's fantastic, but in reality, it's empty.
You spent $20 and got all that on that list. Did you get my eggs?
$20, you can live off a week's food. I've
And-
already proved it.
There better be chocolate in there.
Well, if you want to weigh out what political life's all about, is that we put them in power. And then when they get power, they forget about the people. I could name a handful of politicians that have been true to their word throughout their political life, but it's only a handful. Most of them will toe the party line after they get in. They will do as they're told. That's how it works. They'll listen to lobbyists and they'll get backhanders and they'll become corrupt. And you'd think that was a fairy tale if you didn't see that lots of politicians have gone to jail for what I just said. And not just in the US, trust me. Why would you, people who are given people's money is just silly now. It's like, if you're going to give people anything, give them time. Your time, far more valuable. If you would suggest for women, let's talk about the very large obese dancing monkey in the van, just for one moment. If donating money to him would have improved his life over these years, you'd say it's a good thing. But he sits in a 31-year-old van with lots of things still falling off it. Apparently someone says he's got a bit of a dent in the side. That's not going to change the way he lives. But let's think, all this money donated over all these years, he's in abject poverty, he's morbidly obese, his health is terrible. So does donating work to him? I'll let you work that one out. In fact, all it does is let the poor dancing monkey bounce along the poverty line continually. That's all it does. And I think people do it to watch that and take a lot of joy out of his delusional misery. Oh, I think, buddy, one of the things that you'll see, even when times do get tough, and they will get tough, is the good side of humanity kicking in. It'll come within you and us and others, because that's what we do. I always look at life along the principles that that bloke sitting on the side of the road who's hungry, he's dirty, he's got no money, that could be me. That's how I look at life. So we don't, hand over our bank account to them, but we'll certainly help feed, buy something to eat, talk to them, because that's actually a big thing. Like I keep saying, time is the biggest gift you can give someone.
Yeah, when it's genuine.
Yep.
But that particular person,
No.
That's right.
And like I say, what people are doing over these years is continuing his life of misery. That's all they're doing. You'll never go hungry in Australia, and I'm pretty sure there's enough charitable organisations around that you would never go hungry in the US. But if your behaviour is so bad, I have to say this categorically, and I'm not making it up. If the dancing monkey in the van was in Australia, every day some Australian bloke would drag him out of the van and beat the shit out of him.
Because of if he speaks.
And the police would go, oh, that's okay.
Yeah, if he speaks the way he does.
It just doesn't happen here like that. It wouldn't happen here like that. And I tell you what, some Australian women would drag him out and beat the shit out of him as well. I don't know how you guys put up with shit like that. Someone in Australia started talking derogatory about my wife, I'd find them. Yeah.
There's a food card for about 330 a month.
The dancing monkey in a 31-year-old van, old Gringo. It's very sad. Like I say, I do feel sorry for him, don't get me wrong, though I don't wish to help him because he's gone beyond that.
See, I don't feel sorry for him.
No, I feel sorry for his life.
No.
It's terrible.
Yeah, that's you, but I don't even... He's had plenty of opportunities. He has plenty of people that have tried to help him.
Absolutely.
He's had everything given to him nearly, and he's just pushed it all away. So I have no sympathy and do not feel sorry for him one bit.
Yeah, he's on the front line of being picked up and taken somewhere without any question. Look, if we want to get brutal, we have a lot of Assyrians in Australia, and they're lovely people. They really are. They're caring, kind, considerate. They have a different religion than we do, but they're really nice people. And I can tell you categorically, without question, if a father passed away in a family, it is the solemn duty of the eldest son to take on the mantle to be the caregiver for all of the family. And if that doesn't happen in Australia, there is absolute shame. You are shunned and you are never welcome. That is an Assyrian fact. So not standing up to be the man of the household when your father passes away is horrendous to the Assyrian community, because that is traditionally what happens. Forget all the other things, When your family means nothing to you, that tells you what sort of person you are. Just got to go and get my battery charger because this will die.
Oh. Yeah, actually. Oh, did you just see Seed's legs walk past then? Bit of excitement. Bit of excitement. And the acoustics are good in the lounge actually, because it's not full of furniture yet. So the whole feud is an act, is it? I bet he's still hanging around the rancho. Well, that's what someone else said, Leroy. We don't watch enough to sort of keep on top of it, but the odd time I have seen a bit, and then I can put it all together. But whether it's an act or not, it's just some of how he speaks. It's just not nice.
Well, the truth is, he's a very scared child.
Oh, that's nice, Jan. Oh, that's good, Gringo. Look after the kids.
Oh, that side of it, Leroy, is a given. It's a game that way. But they're probably the two loneliest people I've ever known on the planet.
Well, they're your kids. You do what you can. And it's good that your daughter's checking up on you, Jan.
We had a real sad case in Australia today. It was a 65-year-old woman who passed away with the virus. Her daughter had been on a 6-week tour of the United States. Unknowingly came home. And we know it was the daughter that passed it on to her mother because her mother lives alone and no one else had visited her. And within 3 weeks she passed away. That is one side of things with this that is very concerning because I don't know how the daughter would feel. It would be devastating. She never intended to do that. She didn't know. She was asymptomatic. She didn't know she was ill. It was only after the mother got ill that they tested the daughter, and inadvertently she passed it on to her mother, and her mother has now passed away. Now that is why the British idea of getting people over 70 in particular to self-quarantine for the next 4 months is a great idea, as long as community service can be given to them. They've already set up things so people do what they're doing and they stay home. Community services will be at their door, nurses if required, everything will be provided for them in Australia. We're having a huge bailout here. We're talking about money going into people's banks from the government. And that was last Friday, and today they're going to do another proposal to even double that. Now, money is not going to do a lot of things, but it will certainly help people who are on the margins. And they're going to pay people. If businesses close, the government is going to pay, like casual workers, their wage. So if you're in America, have a close look on how a bailout works in Australia. This is not the first time this has happened. In 2008, same thing. Most Australians ended up with about $3,000 each from the government.
Yeah, that was nice to see actually, Gringo. We saw that on the news, when the Italians...
They may be locked up and they're in quarantine at home by themselves, but they have not lost their national pride, which is a great thing. Yep. I can only see half of Jan's text because for some reason on my screen it's like cut in half.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why that is.
So her daughter rang to check up on her, and the daughter said if Jan needs anything, she'll be there,
Yep.
get groceries, and then Jan also said to her daughter that if they need,
Yep, works both ways.
And then the last one here says daughter and her husband are
See you later, buddy.
See you, buddy. Are working from home. Granddaughter is out of school. So that was Jan's last one. So you're seeing text, but it's going too quick. Is that what it is, maybe?
No, on Jan's text on my screen, it's cutting. It's like it goes a lot longer to the right.
Oh, and then you can't see the...
I don't know why. No
I
one
get
else's
it,
text.
yeah.
I'm not blaming Jan. I'm just saying what I can see.
Okay, what about... so you saw buddies.
I
All
see
right.
everyone else is normal,
Yeah, okay.
but it's like the sentences go way off to the left, but it's cut. It's cut. I can't see it.
Well, Ringo just did a comment. Text and it was nearly as long. Can you see all that?
Yep, got all that. Oh, it goes in like paragraphs, but with Jan's it goes off to the right. I don't know why. I'm not technically wise enough to understand. See if I can show you one. I'll go back. See, Jan?
Oh, I see.
So it goes-
see. Yeah, it does too. It's like
Cuts half it off, with the
Yeah.
rest are all paragraphed
Yep,
underneath.
yep, I see what's happening.
So if I can't answer you fully, Jan, because I can't see everything you're saying, I don't know why that happens. A bowl of dal. You're going to snake charmers later, are you, VMAC?
I'll try it, VMAC. Not sure what it is, but yep, give me a bowl.
That's all right, you like it.
Does it involve bread? Then I'll have some.
Yeah, she'll probably got a bit of naan bread with that.
VMAC doesn't need a lot of bread. Oh, I'm actually going to go to bed in a minute.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be following you.
My phone needs to go on the charger. What did you have today, Buttercup? Toast and soldiers and eggs? I think we have to send a search party for Mel. She hasn't come back.
A bowl of dal.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is either, Gringo, but VMAC made it. It should be okay.
Explain to them, VMAC. I know what it is, but you explain to them.
As long as it's not hot.
Can be.
No, I don't want chili, VMAC, please. Bit of garlic bread would be good. Yeah, soldiers and eggs is what Butty likes.
Yeah. I've had dal in Indian restaurants, 2 or 3 types. Can be spicy, can be yogurty, can be
Okay.
crunchy with onions, all sorts of things.
Ooh, soup and granny roll.
Ew.
As long as it's not too spicy, I'll
What
have
sort of
some.
soup? I'm curious.
Oh, we went shopping with Gringo, so we know what he's having.
Garam masala? Yeah, that's not too spicy. I have coriander in very small doses. Do you make tom yum gum or tung yum gum?
I don't know what that is either. I can't
Well,
even say it.
that's a Thai.
No, the shwashka. Shukwa. It's not even going to
I want
try.
a shushaka.
Shushaka? Shushaki? Yes, you can freeze milk, because I used to do it.
Yep, I freeze it, but what you always do is take about a couple of ounces out the top of the milk. Then put the lid on, because if you don't, your milk might go psst in the freezer. 'Cause
Shukshaki.
it will expand.
Sounds like a Reiki movement.
Yeah, there's lots of different. If you ever go to an Indian restaurant, you'll get 3 or 4 dal.
I do like lentils.
Remember we went
I
to
had
Hobart,
that,
we went to the Indian
Yeah, I
restaurant?
Yeah,
Remember
I
that?
just remembered, yeah.
And you normally it's a bit of naan or whatever you can dip into it.
I don't.
Here's a little tip for you people. When you make mushroom soup, a lot of people actually take the stems off. Well, I tell you what, next time you get a heap of mushrooms, just take all the stems off and then freeze the other part of the mushroom. Just use the stems to make mushroom soup. It is magnificent.
Well, any mushroom soup's yum.
Just the stems.
No, BMAC, he's stealing one of our chocolates.
I do like, probably, it's in France it's called vichyssoise,
Yeah, huh?
which is leek and potato soup, with bacon.
You just
But it's
say
called
that.
vichyssoise because it's served cold.
I do like leek and potato
Ugh.
soup, actually.
But leek and potato and bacon soup is yum.
I have a black belt in origami. Step away from the chocolate. Alright, see if you can read Jan's.
Yeah, no, I can't. There's still only half. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, she said, you can just open your milk, put the cap back on and put it in the freezer.
Yeah, she's taking the pressure out is what she said.
Yeah.
But I always took just a little bit out when I freeze them. Because we get 2 or 3 litre containers.
Yeah.
Or a gallon, basically. A 3 litre.
I think what it is because Jan's name is so long. Maybe.
No, I don't know. It just seems to... Like you saw it on my screen, like it just cuts it in half. And I
Yeah.
can't read the other bit. But look, we've got your phone, so we can read what Jan says.
Yeah.
So, if I was going to leave you guys with something tonight, I would say, yes, times are going to get tougher. You just need to get a little bit tougher yourself.
And if I've
Bit of
got
resilience, bit of
something-
inventiveness.
And if I've got something to leave you with tonight, enjoy the chocolate and the coffee. And love yous all.
I've tried all of them, VMAC, soy, coconut, there's so many different types, almond, and I still like cow's milk. I drink the others. I don't like almond or soy in coffee. No, that does not work. But I do enjoy just good old cow milk.
Yeah. Buddy,
Full cream.
Buddy, I think the conversation was too much for him. He left.
There's that gringo.
Bully.
Okay,
Bully. It's just...
that's all right. He did come and apologise for his
and
behaviour,
he
which was a good
behaved
start.
himself, yes.
VMAC's still in a bit of shock, but I drink my coffee black.
Oh, I have milk.
Is that because you can't stand the soy and almond milk in there? It's like me. I have coffee white with milk, not cream, and no sugar.
I just always love that joke. How do you milk an almond?
What's the punchline?
Well, there's a meme. It's a picture of this lady trying
Oh, so it's
to
not a
milk.
joke then?
No. She's trying to milk an almond to get almond
I was just thinking you're going to come out, how do you milk an almond? Grab it by the nuts.
Oh,
And I only just thought of that then.
there you go.
There you go, VMAC. There's a joke you can spread. I like a good cup of tea, I must admit.
Oh, you'll be right with Buttercup then, Jan. She drinks tea. But of course then, Jan, you've got people like VMAC and, I know Gringo bought tea, but VMAC has no tea. So we can't have that. She can't give us one.
Yes, I'll get back into rhythm because I've been up early for the last 6 months. I normally get up in the morning and have a cup of tea. But I've been getting up really early and not having
Yeah.
anything. And then by about 11 o'clock, I don't feel like a cup of tea. That's just nutty. Yeah, and I just did that off the cuff. I think it's quite funny. How do you milk an almond? By the nuts. Squeeze these nuts, I suppose you could say. I've been through all the teas, and I must admit, I just like a strong, rich cup of tea.
That's why I buy that.
Yeah.
I like the English breakfast.
Tried all the
strong.
other ones, the fancy ones, the chamomile, and I just, nah.
Oh, I like peppermint. Oat milk.
Mm-hmm. You can get rice milk.
Yeah, I
You can
know.
make milk out of just about anything you can imagine.
I've tried to drink rice milk. I just don't like it. I've tried so good. I don't know if you have that over there. I just don't like it. What's the other one? Lactose free. I can tolerate if I have to.
Just give me a cow.
Just
I
full
just want milk.
fat cream. Fat milk.
We don't eat margarine, we eat butter. Non-salted butter, unsalted, but butter the same.
Actually, I don't think I've tried almond milk.
That's all right, it's quite creamy actually.
I'll have to buy one and try it.
It's creamy.
If I can get one.
It's a substitute you can use in, like when you're making a curry too. You could use almond milk.
I say almond, you say almond.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
No, but I just...
potato, shove it up your clarko.
Soy, that's the other one. I don't.
Nah, I don't like soy.
Tried soy.
It's too close to tofu for me.
See, I love tofu. Jan has a tea that
Yeah, I'm with you,
is
V, mate. Buy local.
winter tea.
You work around your own area,
Ooh.
you help your own area.
Now that's a tea I would try.
Or almond and milk and blueberries. That sounds cool.
Jan said she's got a tea that is winter tea and it has chocolate flavouring. Wow.
But the weather is cooling down here, so I'm sure it's warming up in the north. When I say cool, it was 26 today. For us, that's cool. I know
That
you
is.
guys don't believe us.
And I've got a dressing gown on now.
It's about 24 degrees now. It's getting cool. 20 degrees is cold. We got the, our daughter's got those 2 chihuahuas, and we were out the back moving furniture, so I put a board up so they couldn't go down the ramp. But they ran like greyhounds from one end of the hall out to the patio. Celsius. 20 degrees Celsius for us is not nice. I'd settle for 28 to 30 every day. That would suit me.
Well, I was going to go to bed.
Yep, I think we'll call it toodaloos, but right through the old routine. Couple of small
No.
bags of tea. Okay. She didn't say goodnight, but this is okay. I'll say it.
I got
Hello. Oh my goodness. You can tell I had a shower. My hair's a bit fluffy. Yes. But anyway, I hope your day is pleasant. Times are tough. Like I say, just hunker down if you can. Minimal contact with other people. Unless they've got uniforms for Buttercup, then she'll let anyone in. McHale's Navy, they'll all come in the door. Other than that, have a great day. Enjoy it. Be kind to people, unless you have to squash them because they're irreplaceably just bad people. Do that. Crush them on the heel of your foot. We didn't see Danny tonight, did we? Have a great day, people, and we will see you another time. Take care.